Alright, this is going to be a super fast walkthrough on how to just render out animation from Maya, bring it into After Effects, and export a video. So I have a scene already from class, just the guy jumping. Just going to clean this up, close some things, full screen perspective, and get my camera working. Which is going to be View, Camera Settings, Resolution Gate. Check my render settings up at the top. Make sure that on the first tab my size is HD 720, which that's for this project. Either one is fine, 720 or 1080. 720 will just take less time to render. Okay, resolution is 72, width 1280, height 720, or 1920 wide by 1080 tall. Make sure the right camera is selected here. Perspective, that's good. Unless you made your own, then it'd be camera 1 or something. File name prefix. This is going to be jump 1. And the image format is just going to be JPEG for now. This frame animation drop down is going to be the last one. Name underscore number dot extension. Like that. Frame padding depends on how many frames. Now I have I'll stop it around 875, I guess. So I'll say 2 for padding, because there's 2 digits. And then start frame, end frame. Start frame is actually 0 for me. It might be 1 for you, and then 75 is the end. Which that end frame includes that last frame. So that's good. I'm just going to render with Maya software because it's fast. Once you have your lights, though, you want it to look nicer than this, so you may want to use Monterey instead. It's not going to take a whole lot longer, just whatever your preferences are. Alright, so that's good there. Camera composition. Let me go ahead and try and do this without a mouse. Not so good. It's okay. Alright, make sure your scene, just check everything. Your scene should be good, your lighting should be good. You can usually do a test render, just 1 frame, just to see how things look. There's no lights in my scene, so yours should look much better than mine. Alright, so I have all this done. Don't worry about what's visible in the viewport or not, as long as your composition is good. Don't worry about the curves. I'm going to go up to render settings one more time just to check where it's saving. My project, there's one on the desktop and it's going to the images folder. So make sure you have it going to somewhere that you want. Make sure you go to File, Project Window, or Set Project, one of the two. Project Window if you don't have a project yet for rendering, and then Set Project to choose where you want it to go. Alright, so that's good there. I'm going to switch to this rendering drop-down menu up at the top and go render, batch render, and it's going to save it, which is fine. It will go. Hopefully it's quick. Once it gets going. Alright, while I'm waiting for that, I know usually I say open one thing at a time. I'm actually going to pop open After Effects while I wait for that render to finish. It's actually going slower than I thought it would. Okay, so just whatever the pop-up windows are when you have After Effects in, just close them. They don't matter. I'm just going to go over a few basic things as we wait for that, just to review, hopefully for most of you. The big center area is your work area, the left-hand side is your project window, and the bottom is your timeline. So I already have something rendered from like my second walk cycle. So I'm going to import single file and go and find, and this isn't the one that's currently rendering, this is the one that I've already finished. So desktop, that's where I think mine is, images, jump 1 is in progress, which I don't want right now, and my computer's probably going to yell at me for doing this while it's rendering. This is not going well. Okay, Walker. But I want Walker number 1. So I have 2 animations just like you guys do, right? You're going to put both of them together in the same video, so you're going to animate them separately. render them separately, and then import them together. So I'm going to click on just Walker 2 image number 1, which I was actually pretty bad with this one. When I set it, I didn't do frame padding, so you see number 1 here is just 1. There's no like 0, 1. In my case, there was 150 frames, so I should have had 0, 0, 1, but it should still be hopefully okay. So I'm going to open that one, and Walker 2 came in. Just going to give one more second for this one to finish. It. There we go. Done. I'm going to quit Maya. You should save it if you made changes. Right click again, import file, single file. Okay. Single file, and then we're going to find the first image of the sequence for the jump. Here it is, jump 1, 0, 0. This should be on by default, but just in case it wasn't, at the very bottom, make sure the sequence checkbox is on. And open. Alright, so I have them both in. It's actually not good by default. If you notice when you click on them in this library over here, at the very top, the frame rate is 30, and you want it to be 24. So I'm going to right-click, Interpret Footage, Main, and choose, type in 24. Okay. Walker 2, same thing, right-click, Interpret, Main, click on 30, 24. Okay, now that's good. Now we want to just make it as easy as possible, so in After Effects we're just going to match the size of our clip automatically. So I'm just going to go to jumper 1, or it doesn't matter. Right click again and go to New Comp from Selection. This is going to match the size and the frame rate and the duration. So if this is a really short clip, then this whole thing is going to be very short as well. You change the duration because we need room for both of the clips by going to the composition, which is called right now Jump 1. I'm going to rename that, right click, rename composition, just so it's clear. So I'm going to go to composition, right click, and say composition settings. And we have, kind of near the bottom, duration, which right now is 3 seconds. I don't know how long the other clip is. I'm going to put, let's say, 15 in for right now, just to see. Always give yourself some extra time. So if you know that both of your clips are about maybe 8 seconds or so, give yourself more time than that because you want to put titles and credits in. So 15 is fine for now. The timeline won't change, but you do have at the bottom those little mountains. You can zoom out and see all the extra time you have now. Take your second clip and click and drag and drop it in here at the bottom. You'll see both of them together. This one's quite a bit longer. Okay. You can rearrange your clips by clicking on these colored bars just once and dragging. Now they should kind of sort of snap. What you can do is drag the blue and red tick mark to the area you're looking at, which is the intersection between these two. Zoom in with the mountains and kind of see how you're snapping. So you want them to be right up against each other, or not. You know, if you want to fade to black on one and then fade in on the other, or have titles in between, either way. So I'm just going to show you how to do simple titles. You guys can format the rest of it. So then I'm going to go all the way to the beginning and make a title. So layer, menu, and new, where's it? Text. There it is. I'm going to say, I don't know, what was the name of the project? I just opened Maya by mistake. Little project 1. I don't remember the exact wording for the project that I used. Oh, the places you'll go. Okay, I'll just use that. Okay. And it's typing in black. It's actually not typing in black. I put it below the other layers. So you need to reorder these. You can click on the left-hand side in the timeline and just drag them in different orders. And now when I type, I should see it. I just made a new one. That's okay. Oh, the places you'll go. Alright, I can use my black selection tool, which is up here in the very top top left corner of the screen, and move this around. It should kind of snap around, but you can put it wherever you want. I'm going to put it kind of up here. On the right hand side you have font, and you have color. So you can change any of those that you want. Just make sure it looks good. I'll just go with that for right now. It's easy and white is fine. There we go. Kind of snapping in, which is nice. If it's not snapping, I think there's a little checkbox up here in the top center. Snapping, you can turn that on. Alright, to delete something from your timeline that you don't want, just click on the bar and hit delete on your keyboard. Alright, so now you have the title. You know, a good length for a title, depending on how much text there is about 3 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds. So I'm going to go right in between. To cut a clip, to make it shorter, click it on in the timeline, like this, and then Command-Shift-D on a Mac. I think on a PC it's Control-Shift-D. So now it only lasts a little bit and then it disappears. Okay. If you want it to fade out instead of just cutting, just bring your cursor kind of to where you want it to begin fading out, maybe half a second or so. Click on the clip, hit T on your keyboard for transparency, and you get opacity. So hit T and this little menu will pop up underneath the item in the timeline. Opacity is at 100% in the blue writing. Hit the tiny little stopwatch next to opacity to lock that in as a keyframe. Go forward to the end of the text when you want it to be invisible and just click and drag on 100% and drag it all the way to the left till it's 0. So now it fades out. So now if I were to play this, spacebar, fades out. Perfect. I want to move the clips. You can hold Shift to click more than one and just drag them both. Spacebar, it will kind of play through it. There's jump number 1. My clip is still long enough. Just always make sure you're not going past your duration. You can always trim it again later, but that's good. I want to put my name on here too. Enter, enter. Put my name. I should probably center all of this actually too. Let's center it. Again, we have all these text tools over on the side. And I think I want my name to be smaller. Maybe 60 and maybe in a gray. Just so the title looks more important. It stands out better than having them both look the same. This should be too much space, maybe. Okay. That's better. So this is load in, spacebar, fades out, clip starts. A little pause there would be nice maybe so it's not so sudden. You can always have your clip fade in a little bit too. So it fades out and cuts. Yeah, that is pretty harsh. So I'm going to just go ahead and give a tiny, like the smallest fade in I can. So in this case, I'm going to go to where I want the fade in to stop, which is going to be like 3 frames in. And on this clip, like this, hit T, lock in the stopwatch, and then go to the beginning of the clip and bring the opacity to 0 so it's invisible. So now just go beginning, play, see what happens. That's a little better than just hard cut. So that one will play. I could put text in front of them. You know, I could put another title saying like happy jump or walk or whatever it is you want to do for titling. That's okay. You don't really have to, I suppose. I mean, as long as it plays well as a whole. It's pretty obvious, I think, with this small project that the 2 videos are related, so it's not too much of a concern that they'll be read incorrectly. Jump, done. Cool. Now between the 2, I'd like to have a little bit more of a break. So he jumps, stops, he comes in, that wasn't long enough. Just long enough to process that there's a break. You don't want to be too flashy. Which even a little bit longer actually. Let's see. Yeah, a little too long. Alright, I'm going to pull it back and then fade this one in just a tiny bit as well, just like I did with the first. So hit T, go into where I want the fade in to stop, stopwatch, go to the beginning of the clip, bring it to 0. Now watch it. Yep, it's a little too long now that I added the fade in. So that felt better. Okay, so that guy goes. He doesn't do anything. And then the end, same thing, adding in some credits, okay? Credits, they don't have to move or animate or anything. They just be very simple, such as where you get the music from, and you import music the same way you import anything else, which I think a lot of us are using Incompetech, that website that I recommended, so I'm going to just go ahead and show you how to reference that. So let's just go ahead and do it from scratch. So tables. I'm going to go in and just go and find incompetech.com, and the internet is off. Okay. You can do it. There we go. Alright, so incompetech.com, I'm going to say get started with music, and first I'm going to sort by length. My clip's pretty short, it's not longer than 2 minutes. I'm going to say less than 2 minutes long. It gives me a smaller selection. And tempo, something kind of medium, which is going to be around the 90 to 150 range, or more like 90 to 120, about medium. Okay, let's see what I got. I don't know if you guys can hear this music, or it's just not loading. No. Too dramatic. So you can just go through and kind of preview these, and choose the kind of one that you want to listen to. I have no idea why that's pretty intense too. Let's just grab one. Whatever this is, we're going to pick it. Okay. So when you pick a song on here on this website, there'll be a few things. Over on the right, it says credit this piece by copying the following to your credits section. So it's this little tiny text right here. It has the song title, the music artist, the website, the license information, all right here. So I'm going to copy that and download the song. There we go. So that's downloaded. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to import it. So right click, import file, go and find it, which should be fun. And hand trolley, there it is. Open it up, drag it down into the timeline. Now when I go back and play, it's not too bad. There's a spot where I can, use the music a little bit as your guide if it has a good beat to it to kind of help you edit. Like for instance, the credits, the music kind of changed at the end if you listen real carefully. Right in there would be a good place to start credits. So I'm going to say layer, new, and text. And I'm going to say paste that information in, which is going to be pretty big. I hit Command A to select all of it, and I'm just going to shrink that down so it fits on the screen. Just maybe 25. Make sure it's still readable. You don't want it so small that you can't see it. And I'll put it down here. Actually, in that same paragraph, I'm going to tab that down so I can put something above it. I'm going to say, if you have the rig, I didn't provide you the information yet, which is bad on my part, but you can say rig courtesy of, and then put where it's from. Now, I'm not going to go around and dig for the exact reference, but this is where you would put the source of the rig. All of ours don't require credit, but it's still nice to do it, even though if they say it's not necessary. You can go ahead and do that. Sometimes it's fun to not fun, but good to put your name again. Like you could put animator or animated by your name. And then also in credits, and it is for a class exercise, but depends what you want to use this for later. Sometimes you can put like University of Wisconsin Stout, and you could put just the year, or you could put like the date, which is be like in number form, not written out. So let's say it's February 1st, 2016. You know, you can add in some things to make the credits look more interesting than just your name and the credits. So anyway, you can do that. If you have your own logo at this point, maybe you get into your logo here or anything else that applies to your video. So I'm going to just center this again. And this is where I want it to start, so I'm going to cut it and delete the first half. Remember, Command-Shift-D, and just play the whole thing. It's not bad. I like the audio to kind of cut out a little nicer than that though, so if you want to adjust your audio volume, just click on, again, the audio track, and I think you just got to use the little arrow next to it on the far left if you watch the screen. And you get audio, and then you get audio level. So I'm going to back up a little bit and lock this in at 0, which is standard, and then go forward to the end and just fade it out, which in this case is -48 as the lowest, and just kind of play this end part. That fades out a little bit long. I want to fade up quicker, so I'm going to move those keyframes. That's pretty harsh. It's a little better. Alright, good enough for now. So, I'm going to collapse these if you want. So everything there is good. What you're going to want to make sure, mine happens to be the length of 15 seconds as my composition, which is nice. There's these blue handles at the beginning and the end. Make sure these are positioned in the right place. So the first one should be at the start of your project, and the last one should be at the very end. The last thing you want the audience to see, which in this case is where my audio fades out and the credits are still on the screen. You could fade the credits to black again if you wanted to. So yeah, make sure that area is correct. You don't have any other extra space tacked on. Okay. Once it is correct, you can right-click on that gray bar, which if mine was different, you could see it. Here we go. Right-click and say Trim Comp to Work Area. That's going to cut away any extra that you have, and you just get rid of it for you. Okay? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and export this out real quick. So what you're going to do is select the composition in the library, which is composition for me, the name. Right-click, and it's not there, sorry. Composition menu at the top, add to render queue with it selected. Okay, so I clicked on my composition, went to the composition menu, add to render queue, there it goes. You're going to click on all of the text and just see what happens. So the first one is best settings. Best is set to full, frame rate is 24. You're just double checking things basically, that the quality is good, the size is good, the frame rate's good, and then down here, this time span, work area only, and we should have just cut that off, so that should be good. Okay. Output module, lossless, this is the important part. So this format menu, the first one should be QuickTime. Then you're going to go down a little bit and to the right and find format options and change this video codec animation, which is uncompressed. It's going to be a massive file. You want it to go all the way down and find H.264. Okay. Quality all the way up to 100. And I do want us to upload these online. So usually when we do that, we want to limit this bit rate setting here. limit data. And these are HD technically, so we can go pretty high with this. We can go 20, 1000. Okay, which sounds like it's not really limiting anything, but if it's not checked, it's an unlimited value, which is really, really high. So limiting that will help us upload it later and also keep the file size smaller. Quality will still be pretty good. Alright, so that's set like that. Okay. Nothing else in here should change. The audio, if you have a lot of like high quality audio files, you can go to format options for those and consider compressing them. I have not had any luck with any of these. If anything, I'll probably try AAC if you wanted to compress the audio, but I just leave it uncompressed. Okay. Oh, I forgot. I'm gonna hit cancel. I don't know why I didn't realize this. I guess it's because it's on Maya software. Let me check the other guy. It looks okay. If you use Mental-Ray has color management. Your video might look darker than it did in Maya when you hit render. If you have this problem, which many of you may not, right-click on your footage again in the library. Go to Interpret Footage and Main, same place you change the frame rate. And at the top there's actually two tabs, right? There's Main Options and then there's Color Management. You're going to want to change Interpret Light as Linear Light on, I believe. Yeah, that looks better. There we go. Mine was darker than it was supposed to be. So you're going to want it on. Yeah, does that make sense? So again, it's under, let me do it again. Right click, Interpret Footage, Main, Other tab, Color Management, and I'm pretty sure on 432 is the default. You're going to want to set it to just on. Yeah. If I still had that file, I would render it and show you the difference, but I think I got rid of it. Okay, so interpret linear light as on. If you notice a problem, right, you don't want it to be darker than the render, which I don't think we ever went over that in class. So render queue, we checked all this. I hit cancel though, so I'm going to go back and do it. QuickTime, format, H.264, limit data, 20,000. Okay, okay. Last but not least is output 2, not yet specified. So go ahead and pick a place. I'm going to put it on the desktop. And say little project. Oh my goodness, typing. Colleen. Save. And then just hit the render button. Okay. It shouldn't take too long if it's not a long file, but just give it a minute. And make a happy little sound when it's done. Here we go. Alright, so I'm going to minimize this. Always watch your video first. If something's wrong, you'll see it. So don't turn in something without watching it first. So what you're going to check for is the ratio. So make sure that it is widescreen. The text is nice and clear. It may have looked a bit more blurry in After Effects because it's giving you a preview version. So it should look better in the video. Okay, always play it. There we go. Okay. So that looked pretty good to me. It's okay. Again, for yours, you should have similar thing, a title, credits, include your audio credits. I didn't give you the rig information. I'll probably send it an email after this video, and if you get it and you put it in, awesome. Don't worry about it if you didn't get to it. Inside the movie, there should be 2 clips, one of each walker. Remember, one of them was anything that you wanted to do, and the other one had to be a character who was very overly excited. Okay? However you want to do that, you could have more titles in between if you want, or different songs for each one, as long as the whole video looks good together. And remember, there was no length requirement for this project either. It depends on your walk, depends what your action is. I'm guessing they'll be all roughly the same length, probably between like 5 to 8 seconds or 10 seconds each. Okay? Close that and done.